Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. We're going to visit with Curtis T. Make sure I get everything. Curtis T. Hill Jr. Love that name with Project 21. We often have guests on with that.
I love Project 21.
Yeah, National
Just amazing.
Center for Public Policy
Yes.
Research. Welcome to the show, Curtis.
Thank you very much, ladies. It's great to be here.
We are dragging you in here because we need to talk about Charlie Kirk a little bit more and then some more, in addition to other things. And you are an attorney. You've been in business. You have a pretty impressive background. And you felt that you wrote an article, you were one of the people that contributed to the article on Charlie Kirk that was published over at Project 21 Commentary. And you said, the truth isn't out there. He was misrepresented as a racist. And what do you have to say about that?
Well, that's been a problem that we've been seeing along with the political correctness in the last decade. Charlie Kirk was a young man who spoke the truth about matters, and unfortunately today the truth sort of hurts a lot of people. One of the things that he talked about was the problem that we have with DEI. Now, DEI has become sort of a dirty word. I support diversity, but I don't support diversity at the expense of excellence. And that's essentially what we're talking about. What are the standards that we apply in the workplace and education? And because of political correctness, we've gotten into these programs, such as many of the DEI programs that had established benchmarks or quotas and disregarded the actual merits of the performance. And so one of the things that when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and there was lots of commentary back and forth about what type of person he was, a lot of people on the left would suggest that he was a racist because of some of the commentary that he made, and they would take things out of context. One of the things that they took out of context was a statement that he made about when he goes on a commercial flight and he looks at the pilot. If the pilot's black, he wonders if that pilot is qualified. And someone said, well, that just shows he's questioning black pilots. No, he's actually pointing out that DEI's biggest harm is that it marginalizes professionals, blacks, to make people think twice about whether they're there on their own merits or whether they're there because of some quota program. And what that points out to is that DEI essentially hurts the very people that it was put in place ostensibly to help. That's something that we need to talk about and be very honest about it so that we can do what we can to have a diverse society and diverse communities, but without doing so in a way that marginalizes the very people that we're trying to uplift.
Absolutely. And by the way, I wanted to say thank you so much for your sacrifices and services. I believe you're the 43rd Attorney General, right, in Indiana?
43rd.
Yeah,
43rd.
Yeah, 43rd. Thank you so much for your sacrifices and service there. And with that, too, when I'm reading through all your accreditations here, you're the Senior Fellow for the Center for Urban Renewal and Education in Washington, D.C. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, we had, I'm no longer doing that, but we had done that for a while. The Center for Urban Renewal and Education is a policy think tank in the Washington, D.C. area that focuses on, again, uplifting communities, doing the types of things in the urban centers, but not in the typical leftist way, in ways that promote self-awareness, ingenuity, promoting education to create a better, stronger community. I was very proud of the work that we did there at the Center for Urban Renewal and Education. They're still rock and roll. That's Star Parker's group, and they do an excellent job in facilitating success among the Black community.
Star Parker she's boss.
Oh my gosh,
She's
I'm
great.
a huge fan of hers.
Yeah, she's great. When you talked about things that you're doing, and just my own personal comment when you were talking, I thought, hopefully now all we hear is what's on TV. We're not living it, but hopefully now with ICE coming in and cleaning up the streets, maybe that will encourage more people to go to things like the center, for urban renewal, just to know they can get there and back and be fine. I don't know, but that's just me looking on the outside looking in. So in any event, I wanted to talk about protecting life. That's one of the things that is one of your chief goals, it sounds like, in your career. Can you tell us about what you're doing in that area?
Well, life is important. It's not only from a biblical perspective, but also from a constitutional perspective. If we look at our Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is what it's all about. So as Attorney General, I was very out front on my positions regarding protecting life. In fact, we had a circumstance that happened here in the state of Indiana. It actually was in the state of Illinois, our neighbor, over 2,000 aborted fetuses had been found at an abortionist doctor's residence, and that abortionist was in Elkhart, or excuse me, in Indiana. We found out about it and determined that through an investigation that those aborted fetuses were actually Indiana fetuses, and took measures to go into the state of Illinois, reclaim the fetuses, bring them back to Indiana, and after a 6 to 8 month process, we were able to bury those 2,000 plus infants or unborn infants in a ceremony that was a real reflection of placing integrity back into the status of aborted fetuses, making sure that they were treated with human dignity. That was one of the accomplishments of my office that I'm most proud of, because it really set a standard. We had people who were pro-choice that learned about what had happened, and these fetuses had been abandoned in a garage for 18, 19 years. And
Wow.
it brought the humanity back into the equation for many people. And we were very pleased about that.
Man, I could do a whole show on that, because what the heck? That should be a crime.
Yeah.
And who
Well,
just
it
keeps
is.
that in a garage?
It would have been a crime. I should say, transporting fetuses across state lines is not something that you're supposed to do. But the doctor had died. That's how they found out about it. The doctor died, and his family was cleaning out the garage and came across these old boxes. And they looked in the boxes and saw what they believed to be aborted fetuses. And they contacted authorities. To their credit, his family contacted authorities, and we were able to verify that not only were they aborted fetuses, but they were fetuses that had been aborted in the state of Indiana from this doctor's 3 locations that he operated from. And it was very important for us to take action. Once we knew that they belonged in Indiana, it wasn't enough to simply allow the state of Illinois to discard the remains as so much medical waste. We wanted to make sure that we put our stamp of humanity on these
Love it.
Remains and bring them back. Well, we had a very dignified service. The funeral home provided a burial ground gratis, and so it was a very touching ceremony, and it brought a lot of healing to many of our women in the pro-life space.
Well, God bless you for doing that. I do
Yeah.
remember that story, and little did I know I would meet you. You were involved in bringing them back and giving them a proper burial. God bless you for that. We're going to take a break, and when we're going to come back, we're going to talk about some of the racism at the college level that acts as compassion but really isn't. So when we come back.